Namaste, yogis. Welcome to the Sonoran Desert. Today's flow is going to be nice and slow, really feeling into every corner of the body and grounding in. This class here on YouTube is 30 minutes in length. However, if you are looking for a longer 60-minute studio-style practice, you can head to my website, alaunaroby.com, click on the Yoga Offerings tab, and scroll to see the on-demand class library. Here you can rent 60-minute versions of these similar classes, just with more slow, juicy poses. So if that sounds up your alley, go ahead and click the link in the description box below. So let's go ahead and begin lying down on our backs today, starting out in corpse pose or shavasana. Extending the legs out long, resting the arms by your sides, and allowing your body to fall into stillness. Allowing the whole body to relax into the mat beneath you. Maybe closing down your eyes. And begin to bring your mind into stillness as well. Instead of focusing on the thoughts of the day, try to bring your awareness to the breath. On your next inhale, begin to reach both arms up and overhead, reaching out from fingertip to toe tip. Then grab onto your right wrist and lean the upper body towards the left, keeping the hips rooted where they are, and maybe walking both feet off to the left as well. So finding your banana pose, really breathing into that right side of the body, beginning to open it up, finding some length in this pose. On your next inhale, come back through center. Extending both legs out long, arms go up and overhead, finding that full body stretch once more. And then moving to the second side. So grab a hold of that left wrist, begin to lean the shoulders towards the right, keeping the hips rooted, and maybe walking the feet off to the right as well, finding your banana pose. Breathing into the left side body here, maybe tuning into the differences between the sides, the body's asymmetry here. Not judging it, just taking notice. Gently release it back through center. Hug both knees in towards the chest this time. Maybe rocking a bit from side to side, tuning into how the lower back feels. Again, just noticing, not judging. That goes for both how your body is feeling, but also your mind and your thoughts. So thoughts might arise during class, like, oh, I can't wait for dinner, or oh, I have to do this later. But instead of attaching to that thought and judging it and thinking about it, simply just observe it and then let it go. And bring the hands to the backs of the thighs and gently begin to rock yourself up into a seat. And gently cross at the ankles, moving slowly into your child's pose. So bringing both knees wide on your mat. Big toes come to touch. And you can melt the chest down, forehead down, as you extend the arms out in front of you. Relaxing here, allowing yourself to come back to the breath. On your next inhale, gently begin to press the forehead up off of your mat, shifting the hips up, moving into your all fours. So stacking the wrists under your shoulders, knees under your hips, finding a neutral curve in the spine. And then transitioning into your thread the needle. So reach the right arm up towards the sky, really opening the chest. And exhale, slowly thread that right arm underneath the left side of the body, bringing the right shoulder and right cheek down to your mat. Maybe walking that left hand out in front of you a bit, pressing it down into the mat to deepen the stretch. And on your next inhale, gently begin to press down through the left hand. Reach that right arm up towards the sky once more. Unwind. And exhale, bring both hands back underneath the shoulders, recentering. And moving to the second side. So reach the left arm up and overhead, opening the chest towards the left. And exhale, thread that left hand under the right side of the body. Left shoulder and left cheek come down to the mat. Pressing into the right palm to deepen the stretch. Then gently begin to press into that right hand, lifting that left arm back, up and overhead. Unwind. And exhale, plant both hands back under the wrists and move through a few cats and cows to warm up through the spine. So inhale, lift the chest forward, tailbone up. And exhale, round through the spine, drawing the chin in towards the chest. Inhale, lift the chest forward, squeezing the shoulder blades together on your back. And exhale to round, pulling the shoulder blades apart, pressing the back up towards the sky. Inhale forward into your cow pose. And exhale back, rounding into your cat pose. So again, just moving with your breath here. On your next inhale, go ahead and come back to a neutral spine. And reach back with that right hand, grab a hold of that right thigh, and step that right foot in between the hands, moving slowly. Finding your low lunge. So you can keep both hands down on the mat, either palms pressing down into the mat, fingertips on the mat, or I like to make fists and press my knuckles down into the mat. Of course, if you are not outside, you can always use your yoga blocks if needed. But really focusing on finding depth in the hips here. If you need a little bit more room to breathe, you can always bring the hands up to the thigh, but try and keep the torso at that 45-degree angle. So not lifting up all of the way. And as slow as you can, begin to walk the hands back, peeling those right toes up off of the mat, back towards the forehead, straightening through that right knee, coming into your hamstring stretch. So the left hip is centered over the left knee here. Both hips are aligned and facing forward, and your forehead can melt down towards the knee. And just as slow as you came into it, begin to walk the hands back forward, coming back to that low lunge. Centering that right knee over the ankle, on top of the ankle. And as you're ready, tuck those left toes and lift the left knee up off of the mat, finding your high lunge. This time reaching the arms up and overhead, reaching tall. Engaging through the inner thighs by imagining that you can pull the feet together in space on your mat. really scissoring the hips together so that both of them are squared to the front of your mat. Finding some stability in the lower body here. The left heel is still lifted. Then interlace your fingers so that the pointer finger and the thumb are still extended. Arms are up and overhead, finding length on an inhale, reach tall. Then as slow as you can, on an exhale, begin to round forward, bringing those pointer fingers on the inside of that right ankle, pointing down towards your big toe. Inhale to lift back up. Exhale to round forward. See, this is why stability in the lower body was so important. Inhale to rise back up. Exhale to round, really engaging the core so that you can move slowly and mindfully, one muscle at a time. Inhale to lift back up. One more. Exhale, pointer fingers back down. And inhale, reach both arms back up. You can release the fingers. And as you exhale, press both hands down, pressing the hands back behind you, lowering the torso down into that 45-degree angle again, finding your high lunge with airplane arms. On your next inhale, begin to sweep the arms up and overhead, slowly dragging those left toes into the top of your mat. And moving into tree pose, so bringing the left heel somewhere along the right leg. So either heel comes just above the right ankle, on the right calf, or on the right inner thigh. Just trying to avoid pressing the foot into the knee joint. You can place the hands wherever is most comfortable here, either keeping the hands here on your hips, bringing the hands to heart center, or keeping the arms up tall. Your choice, making your tree your own. And exhale to release that foot back down to the mat, finding your forward fold. So reaching the hands down towards the mat as well. And inhale, halfway lift, press the hands into the shins, drawing the shoulder blades down the back. And exhale to release, forward fold. This time plant both hands and step both knees back, coming back to your all fours. Moving through that sequence on the second side. So reach the left hand back to grab onto the left thigh and step that left foot in between the hands, finding your low lunge. Again, keeping the hands down to frame the foot. However is the most comfortable, either palms down, fingertips down, knuckles down, or hands on the thigh. Again, just focusing on depth in the hips here. Finding your edge of comfortability and not pushing it farther than that. And as slow as you can, begin to walk both hands back, peeling those left toes up off of your mat, pulling both hips into alignment as you allow the forehead to relax down towards the knee. As slow as you came in, begin to walk both hands back to the top of your mat, framing the left foot. Then tuck the right toes and lift the right knee up off of your mat. Once you feel stable in the lower body, you can inhale and reach both arms up and overhead. Interlacing the fingers except for the pointer and the thumb. And inhale to reach tall through the fingers. And slow and controlled exhale, begin to fold forward, pointing those fingers down towards that left big toe, curling the chin in towards the chest. And inhale slow as you came in, lift back up. And exhale, round back down. So kind of like you're painting half moon or half circles above you here with your pointer fingers. Moving gently. Taking one last deep inhale to reach up tall. Exhale to point the fingers down toward the toe. And on your next inhale, go ahead and release the clasp of the hands, reaching both arms up high. And exhale, begin to hinge at the hips, pressing the hands back behind you into airplane arms as you lower the torso down onto that left thigh, finding your airplane arms in your high lunge. On your next inhale, begin to reach the arms up and overhead and slowly drag those right toes back to the top of your mat, moving into your tree pose. So bringing that right heel either just above the left ankle, on the left calf, or on the inside of the left thigh. Choosing your variation for your tree pose. Taking whatever arm variation you would like that's helpful for your balance. On your next exhale, go ahead and release back to your forward fold. Both feet come to hip width distance on your mat, and the hands can reach down towards the toes, allowing the neck to hang heavy here. Just taking a few deep breaths and re-grounding. From here, you can begin to bend into both knees so that you can bring the hands down to the mat. Then slide the hands underneath the feet so that you press your toes into the backs of your palms. And then maybe as you're here, you can begin to straighten through the legs, folding forward a bit more. Just finding this variation that works for you. And slowly release the hands from underneath the feet and walk both feet out to the outer edge of your mat. You got two options here, so you can either keep the toes pointing forward and bend into the knees to lower the thighs so that they are parallel to your mat, coming into your bear pose, arms reaching out in front of you, torso parallel to the mat. Or if you know that malasana or yogi squat is a part of your practice, you can angle your toes out, heels in, and begin to lower the hips down as far as is comfortable, bringing the elbows to the insides of the knees, pressing the hands together into prayer hands. Finding your squat. And breathing in wherever you are. Finding some openness and release through the hip joints. And as you're ready, gently begin to lower down into a seat, placing the hands behind you and lowering the hips. Bringing the soles of feet to touch, allowing the knees to open out wide. Coming into your butterfly pose, grabbing onto your ankles, and rolling the shoulders down the back so you can sit up nice and tall. With every breath, you can imagine that the crown of the head is lengthening up. Someone's pulling you by a string and lifting you up through the crown of your head. And exhale, root the sits bones down. Maybe find a little bit more openness in the hips. Just coming back to the breath. And bring both hands to the outsides of the thighs to close the knees like a book. And extend both legs out long. removing the flesh from underneath your sits bones, maybe keeping a gentle bend in the knees to keep from rounding through the lower back here. Inhale to sweep the arms up high, lengthening up through the spine. And as you exhale, gently begin to hinge at the hips and just gently set the hands down beside the shins, finding a passive forward fold here, trying to keep the shoulders relaxed away from the ears. Then keeping the fold, just adding a twist. You have two options. You can either bring the left hand to the outside of the right calf or to the outside of the right foot. Then bring the right hand to the right hip and begin to twist the chest open towards the right, maybe extending that right arm out, finding your twist. Inhale to lengthen out through the fingers. And exhale, release, coming back through center. Switching to the second side. So right hand crosses either to the outside of the left calf or to the outside of the left foot. Then bring the left hand to the left hip and begin to pull that left elbow back as you twist the chest open, maybe extending that left arm all the way out. Just finding your variation of this pose and breathing into it. And gently release back through center in your forward fold. Taking one more full deep breath here. Then on your next inhale, begin to walk the hands in towards the hips, coming back up into a seat, moving very slowly. As we wind down our practice, you can go ahead and roll down onto your backs and hug both knees in towards the chest. Maybe rocking from side to side here. Again, feeling into the lower spine. How is it feeling after those twists? Then gently come back to center and place one hand on each knee. Then gently begin to draw the knees down towards the shoulders as you keep the big toes touching. So I like to refer to this as a reclined child's pose, reclined wide child's pose. And you can either stay here, or if you'd like to deepen the stretch a little bit, you can reach both hands on the insides of your knees to grab onto the outsides of either your ankles or the outsides of the feet. So wherever you are, try and press the shoulders and the tailbone down into the mat. And if you can't press them down, take the stretch back a notch. Focusing on breathing and really grounding down through the entire spine. Gently release the hold on your legs and bring both soles of feet down to your mat. And reach both arms up and overhead. You can interlace the fingers once more and tuck it behind the nape of your neck, pressing the shoulders and the elbows firmly down into the mat beside you and keeping them there as we move through reclined spinal twists on both sides to end our practice. So with the knees bent, you can go ahead and cross that right leg over the left, shift both hips off to the right, and drop the knees to the left. If that right elbow tries to peel up, press it back down. Now keeping the upper body just as it is, press down into the mat. Just gently bring the knees back up through center, uncross the legs, and recenter the hips. Then cross the left leg over the right and shift both hips to the left. Drop the knees to the right, keeping that left elbow grounded, finding your reclined spinal twist on the second side. On your next inhale, gently roll back through center, uncrossing the legs and recentering the hips. You can extend the legs out long and release the arms down by your sides, moving into your Shavasana. So taking any final wiggles or movements that you need to in order to find some stillness. Coming back to that stillness of the body and stillness of the mind that we started our practice with today. And again, if your mind tries to wander while you try to rest, just remember that you can just simply observe the thoughts that come in, not react to them, and just let them pass by as you continue to focus on your breath, not attaching to any thought. Keeping your awareness centered on the rise and fall of your chest with every breath as you lie here in Shavasana. Slowly begin to bring some movement back to your hands and to your feet. Coming back into your body, you can reach both arms up and overhead, finding a full body stretch. Before bending into both knees and making your way over onto one side. Taking one final moment here in stillness. And keeping the eyes closed, go ahead and gently press yourself up into a seat. Whatever is most comfortable for you, and placing the hands either on the knees or bringing the hands through heart center. Taking two final grounding breaths together as a class. In through the nose and exhaling out through the mouth. In 3, 2, 1. Inhale. Gently tucking the chin and thanking yourself for showing up to practice today. You can gently blink the eyes back open and come back to the room around you. I thank you all for choosing to practice with me today. I hope you enjoyed this nice, slow flow. And if you did, be sure to check out my website for a longer version of this class and even more content to come. I'm really excited that you guys are here on this journey with me, and I hope to see you again in my next video. Bye, guys.